Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital Health Info Session. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Just a few things before we get started. My name is Erin Ruggieri. I'm one of the marketing coordinators in the School of Health Sciences at BCIT, and I'm going to be facilitating the session and talking a bit about the admissions process towards the end. Our main presentation is going to be done by Glinda Reese, and she is our program head for digital health. Please do, while you're in the presentation, please do keep yourselves on mute and your camera off if possible, just to minimize interference issues and any background noise. If you have any questions as we go along, you are welcome to post those into the chat at the bottom or top of your screen, depending on how you have it set up. We will try to answer some questions in the chat as we go along, but we'll also have a time at the end for a Q&A. So if we don't answer your question right away, we're saving it for the Q&A section at the end. And I wanted to start with our land acknowledgement. And so the British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam. And I know that we're all coming from other territories, whether at home, work, or elsewhere in the province or country. So you can take a moment to acknowledge what territory you're on as well. So our agenda for the session is the welcome and introductions. That's the part I'm doing right now. We're going to do a quick poll, I think. And then we'll have a little presentation and program overview from Glinda, as I mentioned. I'll have some program advising information, and then we'll do our Q&A. So I'm going to pass it over to Glinda. Glinda, I'm not sure that we had a poll for this one.
We were thinking we would do a poll to see where everybody's calling in from, but I think if people put it in the chat, then
well, my polls were just in the wrong spot, maybe. Okay, I'm going to launch this one. So this question is, where are you located? Are you in Richmond, Surrey, Vancouver, Tri-Cities, Burnaby? Scroll down, there's more. Other Lower Mainland, Vancouver Island, the interior, Northern BC, and other Canada is at the bottom if you really scroll down that list. So if everyone could take a second just to answer that. You seeing the results on your screen there? It looks like we've got Richmond, Surrey, Vancouver, Tri-Cities, Burnaby, other Lower Mainland, Vancouver Island, and other Canada. So somebody from outside BC, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Glinda, I'll let you continue then.
All right. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. It's nice to see all of you online and appreciate your interest in the program, something that I'm very excited to talk about. So I will talk you through a little bit about the program, and then, as Erin says, we'll have time for questions afterwards, but if stuff comes up, then please feel free to ask as well. So coming back to what is digital health, and really it's looking at the intersection of technology and healthcare, but not just focusing on the tools and the technology. It's really about the people, the processes, the intersection of all the various roles that people play, always remembering that the patient, their family, and caregivers are at the center of that process as well. So always coming back to that, and we do have a very patient-focused approach in our program as well. So why digital health? So, it's not, I think it's not a surprise to any of you or to anybody anywhere really to know that technology is advancing, it's evolving, and it really has the potential to positively transform healthcare. It is a very rapidly moving field, and many of you who did undergrad programs may not have even had any discussion in any of your classes about technology, about the impact, how we as members of the healthcare workforce can then communicate with other team members who are maybe not as healthcare focused and who have IT backgrounds or analytics backgrounds or business backgrounds, and being able to kind of bring that all together and have those conversations across teams is really a large part of what we're trying to do with this program. And we need people who are in the healthcare industry to be able to move this forward and to be at the front end and the center of all these technological advancements, making sure that we are there to kind of carry forward the ethical and kind of equitable decisions that need to be made. We're facing a healthcare crisis, again, probably not a surprise to anybody, and technology really does, I believe, have the potential to make a difference, and for students in this field to be thinking about what you can do as you move through the program and graduate to make a difference in this space. So what is the program about? We created this program with working professionals in mind. So it's a part-time studies, flexible online learning program. We have set it up so that it is fully online, except for there's a capstone project at the end, which could be in-person, hybrid, or online. So there are options there, and I'll speak to that a little bit later. We have 7 dynamic, moving, staying with the times, relevant to practice courses that make up the bulk of the program. And then there's this capstone at the end. The courses that build towards the capstone project and the ultimate kind of goal of graduating are fairly diverse in each of their content and focus, other than always coming back to the patient. The first courses are foundational, and we sort of introduce students to theories and frameworks and principles related to digital health. And then we move into talking about how all the systems should be speaking to one another and connecting with one another, how the humans should be connecting with one another. A lot of that comes through as change management, leadership, leadership in innovative projects, project management, and all of those are threaded. All those kind of concepts are threaded throughout the courses, but each of them is slightly different in their focus. The capstone project builds on the coursework that's been done previously. It is completed in the final term, and the idea with the capstone project is that it is an opportunity for you to meet and work and be mentored and supported by a person or a team in a space that you're interested in. So many students are coming. We have a variety of students coming from a variety of backgrounds into the program. So for example, we might have someone who's a nurse who's wanting to work at Surrey Memorial in the informatics team. So we will, for your capstone project, then we would link you up with that specific team. Somebody else might be interested in working at the new St. Paul's Hospital and kind of the rollout of the new hospital, the new Richmond Hospital, and being part of some of the project work that's happening there. So that might be a place that you might think is an area of interest for you. So we'll try to link you up with teams in that space. Similarly, if you're interested more in the private sector, we can also look at opportunities there. And the idea is that it's a stepping stone towards hopefully a career in that area if you're interested, or at least something that can be on your resume that will help you work towards the area that you're interested in following up on. And you can complete the whole course or the whole program in 1 year. You can take all 7 courses plus the capstone in 1 year, or you can spread it out over 5 years. So is it for you? So I would say for most of you, the fact that you've even turned up here today, it means that you're interested in that intersection of health and technology. So there's a very good chance that you're already in the right place, and this is something that would be of interest to you. We are looking for students who have if you don't have a bachelor's or a diploma in a healthcare profession, you do need some other kind of undergraduate degree that meets about approximately 45 credits. But we are willing to work with you on that a little bit if you've been working in the healthcare field. And the idea is that we want people who have some idea of what the healthcare system looks like, what the patient journey looks like, who the healthcare team members are, what the process within these hospital systems and healthcare systems is like. And even if you're not in the hospital side of things or the acute care, if you're in community or population health, that still applies because it's a continuum across the healthcare system. As I said, you're probably intrigued. That's why you're here. And you see this as an opportunity to maybe make a difference in a way that helps you bring some of your skills together and your interests in a way that can create positive change. So at the end of this is a sort of a snapshot of some of the knowledge and skills you'll receive if you go onto our website, which you were probably on to get to the space anyway. It does outline a few more details in terms of competencies and objectives and kind of the skills that you will be developing throughout the program. But essentially, we're looking at that kind of data standards, technology, information technologies across systems, working to connect those systems, and looking at data, patient outcomes, community, population, health outcomes. And then, as I said, we thread collaborative change leadership and project management throughout all the courses as well. So this gives you an idea of how you might want to organize these courses if you took this over 1 year. So you can see in the first term, we have the sort of fundamentals, the sort of basic kind of entry-level information that you receive related to digital health. And then in the second term, you're really applying that and building on what you've learned. And then you take that towards the sort of the outcome at the end of that transformation process. And so the Digital Health Foundations course, that DIG 7000, is an introductory course that is a prerequisite or co-requisite for the other courses. And it can also be taken as a standalone course. So for anybody who's kind of thinking, I'm kind of interested, I'm not sure if I want to do the full program, you can take that 7000 course on its own as a standalone course as well. It sets you up then for the digital health ecosystems, which is looking at all the different systems that make up the sort of digital health ecosystem or environment, and pulling all that together. We have a data fundamentals course that is a prerequisite for data analytics and sets you up there to move into the data analytics course, where really the idea here is that you're taking data, you're learning how to read reports, look at research, look at studies, take all that data, which is really fairly useless and somewhat meaningless just as data points, turning it into something that looks more kind of like information and creating knowledge, and being able to take the story of that data and either tell the story or find the story within the data and apply it to different audiences. So once you get into the data analytics course, we're looking at sort of dashboarding and sharing that story in a way that is easily absorbable, consumable by different groups, whether it's patient groups, whether it's leadership, administration, vendors, etc. So we kind of look at how you can take those data points and turn them into something meaningful. The Optimizing Care Delivery and Outcomes course is as its name says, we're looking at kind of the outcomes of what we're trying to do with health, and putting the kind of learning health system as the focus. Also then taking that to systems thinking, design thinking, looking at workflow design, mapping out workflow design, etc. in there. Our quality-driven care course is a very virtual care focused course, and looking at quality or quality initiatives, quality improvement within that course as well. And then the project leadership in healthcare currently exists in our healthcare management program as a course that's been there for several years, and is offered to students in this program as part of the advanced certificate, and really just builds on that leadership and project management as well. And then ties into the capstone project, which I think I've covered enough, and if I haven't, we can get into that a little bit more with the discussion at the end. And as I said, we can spread that out over 5 years as well. So our approach, we've tried to be really thoughtful about how we are delivering this program. It is interdisciplinary, so one of the strengths that we're finding within our student groups is we break up our teams so that they are quite diverse. People have quite diverse backgrounds in terms of their qualifications and experience, and the conversations are really rich and interesting, and they focus. We have a student student-led patient-focused approach that is case-based. So we're taking case studies that have been developed by either BC or Canadian, professional practice, clinical focused informatics leaders in Canada that are relevant to our healthcare system. So we're not just taking cases that have come from other countries or that are very sort of cookie cutter or generic. We've tried to make them very relevant, and that gives us also the ability to stay relevant and stay with the time. So we're not offering something that's out of date, because as you can appreciate with the advancements that are happening so quickly in this world, that we need to be able to kind of be nimble and agile. And so having that case-based approach helps us with that. Flexible learning, we're really appreciating that people have life, life, work, play balances, and where we want to try and meet students where they're at in terms of workload and kind of figuring out how to be. Many people have not been a student for a while, so figuring out how to be a student again. So helping to kind of stagger some of our course loads. If you are taking it full time, we try and match up the assignments so they're not all happening in the same week, and we kind of stagger those, and we try to really work with the students to make sure that we're offering that flexibility. Project management, as I said, really important, not something that's typically covered in clinical or healthcare undergrads, and so it's such a, not only a life skill, but definitely a skill that is needed in these digital health environments. It also creates hours that then are credited or applicable towards or counted towards the project management certification, the PMP, if you're looking to do that. Change leadership, definitely that whole leadership approach, helping with leadership, helping with change management, looking at how we manage change management, because pretty much everything in this space revolves around change management. Team-based, I spoke to briefly around the kind of diversity of our teams, but quite what we've noticed with this program, and you may or may not know, I didn't mention it in the beginning, but it is a new program. We're just offering our second term, and January will be our third term of offering the program. But so far, the response has been that the teams have built really kind of strong relationships and found that to be quite beneficial in their discussions. We are equity oriented. We have, we have ongoing discussions around, kind of ensuring that we have an equitable approach, looking at decolonization of the curriculum, indigenization of the curriculum, really thinking about how we can be as equitable and fair about how we deliver this program and how we interact with our students, and then learner directed or student directed. Okay, I think I hand it over to you, Erin.
Yes, I think that's what we said before. So thank you, Glinda, for all that information. That was great. So now if you're interested in everything Glinda said, I'm going to talk a bit more about who is welcome to apply for this program, how you get in, and how you get started. So we do have some entrance requirements that are academic. The first being that we do require English Studies 12 at 73% or higher, or 3 credits of post-secondary English. And basically, we want to make sure that your communication skills can keep up with the program. So second one is post-secondary education. So some kind of diploma, degree, or equivalent accredited program in a healthcare discipline. So there is an alternate entry option if you have a diploma, associate degree, or bachelor's degree in another discipline. But we do look for that experience in the healthcare environment, as Glinda was mentioning. And some non-academic entrance requirements. There is a pre-assessment form to fill out before you apply for the program. And that kind of talks about your education, experience, and why you're interested in this program area. And those are submitted to digitalhealth@bcit.ca. Now that form is a PDF and it is on our website. If you just type in BCIT Digital Health, go to entrance requirements, that form is right there. So once our program area looks at that and we sign off, then you submit that signed form with your online application. So we're just wanting to make sure that everybody who comes into this program is interested in the topic and is going to kind of suit the material. So as this is a part-time studies or flexible learning program, we have start dates in January, April, and September. So there's 3 terms a year that we start. But you can apply for entrance into the program at any time. So there's no application window or dates you have to apply through. So whenever you apply and get accepted, then you would be able to take courses starting the next term that starts after that. So the steps to apply, review all the requirements on our website, go over all the dates, complete the required form as I mentioned. Just want to note that everything does get converted to PDF and you apply online at bcit.ca. If you're anything like me, you went to school before we did online applications, and we used to actually mail things or hand them in directly, and no, we don't do that anymore. Now we want to receive everything online, digitally, just PDFs. That includes your transcripts. So you don't need the transcript with like the wax seal on the back and it all folded up together. You really can just open that up, scan it, or take a picture of it, and that's good enough for us. Again, entrance requirements, kind of a repeat slide. English studies 12 or equivalent, and then healthcare experience. So once you do apply to a program, there is a commitment fee to be paid to kind of hold your spot, and you'll find details about that on our website. As a BCIT student, even though you are probably not going to be on campus much because you will be working online mostly, you are still considered a BCIT student, and we still want to support your success. So I just want to talk briefly about some of the different supports that we offer for students at BCIT. The first is Indigenous services. There is a very wonderful welcoming gathering place for Indigenous students on campus, and we do have a number of Indigenous elders connected to BCIT, so they're a great connection if you're interested in learning more. Student financial aid and awards. There are financial aid options to apply for these courses. There's bursaries that you can look at through our financial aid department. We also have accessibility services for students who have short-term or long-term disability that might affect their learning. Student health services. As a BCIT student, this is my favorite. You have access to our on-campus medical clinic. So there's doctors, there's nurses. It's kind of like a walk-in clinic, but you do have to make an appointment, so it's not. But appointments, you can normally get them either same day or the very next day. So if you can't get in to see your GP, or you no longer have a GP, as many of us are experiencing now, student health services is a great medical clinic to have. We also have counseling and student development. Counselors are available for students, not just for school issues. It could be anything that's happening in your home life, personal life, stress and anxiety. Anything that you'd normally see a counselor for, that is available to students. And recreation services. We also have a full service gym available to students, and we have intramurals. We have lunchtime fitness classes, before school and after school classes, kind of just a great resource. If you are sick of paying for your gym, you might just want to check out the BCIT one instead as a student. If you have questions after this presentation, you are just welcome to reach out to Glinda. I'll give you the digital health email address again. But there's also a program advising department that we have at BCIT, and they have advising that can help you with questions about the applications, questions about your transcripts maybe. So they can assist you, and you can go to their website, bcit.ca/advising, for all of their current service times and for their contact info. And we would love it if after this session you would keep in touch with us. We are on social media, the BCIT Health Sciences Group. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And we really love to show kind of what students are up to, either on campus, off campus, in lab, in clinical settings. So not just digital health program, but all 34 of our health programs at BCIT, to kind of get an idea of what students are up to these days and what's going on, what we're learning. We also announce a lot of upcoming events on there, or activities that are available to students and faculty. And then, of course, there's always ways to learn more about BCIT. We have campus tours. We have lots more info sessions like this. What about other programs? And we have our advising department. So I'm going to turn over to questions and answers. And nobody has been typing into the chat.
I did get a question, which I do want to address.
Oh, good.
So the question is about a master's program. So does this lead towards a master's program, and are there credits acknowledged? So the short answer is yes. It's a little more complicated than that, because it's very much going to depend on your background, as well as, you know, how eligible you are for master's programs. But we have been talking, we have ongoing conversations with the University of Victoria with their nursing program and their master's program, also with the UBC Okanagan campus and Northeastern University, which is in the US. So there are conversations going on there, because we haven't actually delivered this program over 1 year completely and finished, which we will have done in by the end of March of 2024. At that point, then we can start formalizing those processes and those pathways. But conversations that we've had have been very supportive of what we're doing here, and the courses would be seen as providing a kind of a competitive edge going into a master's program. And then also for any master's programs that offer electives, that some of these courses would also qualify for that too. So hopefully that answers that question. I also just did want to mention the digital health at bcit.ca comes directly to me. So that's what that is. I think on the website, it still says my name. So it's all the same. It's the same email. We're just trying to kind of keep things simple. So if you see that discrepancy, don't be concerned. It's the same exact email. And Stephanie, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Hey, I am curious, have you had, I know this is quite a new program, have you guys had people already working in the informatics space in your program?
Yes, so we have had several kind of informatics, most of them have been nurses who are already in informatics roles and wanting to kind of come and learn more about what it is that they're doing, because most of the health authorities are kind of offering on the job training, so like online modules, etc. But sometimes the way those are formatted don't always kind of give the comprehensive overview of the role. So we've seen a number of people start the program and then move into a clinical informatics role. We've seen some move in a clinical informatics role entry level, then move up to a more senior position because they're doing the course. We've also had somebody who's applying to the program who started in the role and then was finding it just so overwhelming because there was just so much going on and so much to learn that they actually took themselves out of the role and now are wanting to work in the new Richmond Richmond Go Live electronic health record. It's like, okay, now they want to take the course so that they'll be prepared for that. So
okay,
long-winded answer, but yeah, there's quite a lot going on in there, and we're noticing that people who haven't got jobs who are looking to make that change, once they're in the program, there's some recognition from employers that this is something that is showing interest, professional development, and is helping them kind of find those jobs.
Okay, yeah, that was helpful. Just really quick second piece. Are there I can also email you about this. Are there ever exceptions made to the education requirements for entrance? Like if you don't have a degree,
so
you have healthcare experience.
Yeah, so if you have, we are required, like kind of the BCIT process requires some kind of undergrad or some kind of credits. So for example, like a lab assistant program does qualify. There's some stipulations around that. My sort of answer, because quite a lot of this it's very unique and individual to each person, is to fill in the pre-admission form.
Okay.
Don't be too overwhelmed by it. It's just really, it comes to me and it gives me an idea of what your background is. And then usually what I do with pretty much everybody is set up then a quick Zoom call where we kind of talk about like, what it is, why you're here, what you're looking for, and think about if they can kind of work towards getting you, qualifying you for the program. If you don't automatically qualify, it might just require taking some courses elsewhere or something like that. So we can kind of figure that out for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, we will be in touch. Thanks so much.
Good. Thanks, Stephanie. I'm just looking.
Yeah, there's a question from Michelle. Is there more detail about the course content available online, and who are the faculty?
So yes, there is. So it's Erin, I think it's on one of the screens on here. We can put it in the chat as well.
If it's not, just type in BCIT Digital Health, but there it is. Yes.
And there is also
/digital health.
Yeah, and on LinkedIn there is a digital, if you do digital health advanced certificate BCIT, we do have our own page too if you're looking for that dedicated piece. The faculty are, I teach like the fundamentals course, and then we're very cognizant of the fact that we are not academics sitting in our ivory towers who have no idea of what's going on. So we bring in people who are working in the field currently. So we have somebody who was with Fraser Health, who's retired, who's teaching one of the courses. We have somebody who's currently working in informatics roles and teaching this part-time. We have a data analyst who teaches like our data courses. So yeah, I mean, and I don't know if it's appropriate to be giving names, but Michelle, if you're really interested, then I can tell you kind of who they all are for next term and kind of what that looks like, if that's really what you're looking for. But we really do try to make sure that the people teaching these courses bring that experience from the kind of setting that they're teaching about. Eli has a question about roles after graduating. So there's a few pieces to this. So the first thing is that there's no like, if you go to nursing school, or if you go to law school, or then you will get these jobs. Because most students coming into this program have quite diverse backgrounds. It depends what you bring. So are you bringing a project management background? Are you a nurse wanting to go into informatics roles? Are you a data person who's looking at kind of data roles? And it's that sort of combination of what you bring and where you want to go that will help decide what direction you take. And so I'll put a link in the chat, but the Digital Health Canada has a career matrix. So if you just Google Digital Health Canada career matrix, it gives you a matrix of kind of digital health roles. And if you look at the emerging professional and competent level roles, most of those you would be kind of you would be able to move into once you're even whilst you're in the program, but once you graduate. But again, it depends on your background. We do work quite closely with our students to link you up with the mentors and support teams that will be working with you on your capstone project. So once you sort of commit to the full program and you kind of get through a few of the entry-level courses, and you know that this is the direction and which sort of stream you want to take, then we start connecting you with that sort of mentorship opportunity so that you can look at employment opportunities. We also have several networking events. So for example, we do have a digital health forum in the middle of November at the downtown campus. There's sort of networking there with industry. We bring in subject matter experts to talk about their jobs, their roles, how to get into their roles, what those pathways look like. And we're having ongoing conversations with the kind of, I'm trying to think what they call talent acquisition leads, what the people who are looking, who are putting out the jobs there at the various health authorities. And so we're kind of putting the word out there as well as to what it is, that figuring out what they are specifically needing, so that we're making sure we're meeting those requirements. So you probably figured out by now that when you ask these questions, you don't get a short answer. It's a whole long. Jan, this is the most interesting thing. We have so many people from the dental industry. So it's in each of our 2 cohorts, we've had interest from the dental, and from a dentist, also dental assistant, dental hygienist, dental technician. So yes, you would be the dental piece gives you something, but also your international degree also gives you that qualification. So I'll just also speak to that. So if you have an international healthcare degree, we still recognize that for entry into the program. So you might not be able to work here as a nurse or a physician or a dentist yet, or any other profession. You might be in the process of doing that, but this will give you kind of that extra opportunity to find something in a digital health informatics role, still using all that experience and expertise that you have from your international degree and experience. We're still recognizing that you're bringing that with you. So yes, Jen, send me the form. With the capstone, so the capstone counting towards the master's is a little bit more tricky, because it's not like a course. So with all our courses, when you take a course, we have course learning objectives, we have exams and assignments and assessments that are very specific. The capstone is we still have learning objectives and the assignment that is around the project, but it's a little less, the parameters aren't quite as strict. So, it would possibly count, but it's more if you were doing the master's and then they said, okay, you need to do an elective, you could say, well, I've already done this project. And then your question about it being a second project in the bridge portion, I think what you're thinking is that there's maybe a kind of an in-between step, but that isn't quite how it works. It's basically you'd finish this program and then you would apply to a master's program, and then they would ideally then give you some credit for some of the courses that you've done, so you don't have to do all the credits in the master's program. So I hope that answers that question. Okay, good. And then international, yes, this is available to international students. Because it's fully online, it can be taken from anywhere in the world. And then we would just be relying a little bit more on you to help kind of identify where you might want to do your capstone project, and then we can work with that group. You know, the world is small now with the online access, so we can definitely you know, help set that up. So yes, that's no problem having the international students. And then diagnostic imaging. So we have quite a few people who are in kind of working with laboratory lab information systems. We don't have anyone with diagnostic imaging, but we have been working quite closely with the clinical informatics lead who has a diagnostics background, and he's just dying for students who have this diagnostic imaging background to take this type of, you know, combination of courses to kind of work in the healthcare industry, because we need more people with that diagnostic experience. So yeah, again, not a short answer, Carrie, but kind of there are options, and I can put you in touch if you want to, you know, just send me an email and I can put you in touch with the person I'm speaking to. Okay, Eli, comments, have the students experience a common within the program? So I will say, it's a great question. The first few weeks, especially if you're doing this full time, are pretty rough if you haven't been a student for a while. And it's not really, I don't think it's so much because of, I mean, it is a workload, but it's just that transition from not having anything to suddenly having this, you know, this workload that you need to navigate. But the students that have taken, so we only have one group. So we had the spring cohort who took full-time courses and then moved into the second term. The next group of students are currently in the second term, their first term now. So I don't know what their process will be, but the first group of students, all of them continued with the full-time. So it wasn't like they dropped out and said, oh no, I can't manage this workload, I'm going to go to one or two courses in the term. This is manageable. All of them though said it was rough in the beginning. Those first few weeks is kind of just trying to figure out where to find time in your day, how to make the space, how to kind of set up your schedule, so getting yourself organized. But then once you kind of get through those first few weeks, that it settles down and it becomes manageable. And like I say, we do try to work with you. You know, if we've got deadlines and you need extensions, we work around that for you as much as possible. And we do try to make it as manageable as possible. So I'd say that's probably the most specific hurdle. We will be, once we get through, I don't think it'll happen this term, but it'll probably, which is a little late if you're looking for January, but in the sort of January, February term, having some of the students who have finished or are close to finishing the program being available to kind of talk about what their experience has been like. Would that person be willing to work with someone in Alberta? Yes, I think probably. But yeah, I can, we can connect and go from there. And we have quite a few students who are in Ontario this term. And one of the things we've done is put them in the same group, so that at least when they're doing group projects, they have a similar time zone. So, well.
That's nice. Okay, I think that's the end of our questions. I think we're going to end it off there. Really do take down this email address, and that's going to be your best contact. So that email, again, Glinda did tell you it went straight to her, so cat's out of the bag on that one. It goes to Glinda, and she'll be able to answer any further questions and chat with you through the program. So I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight. That was great to see everyone digitally, and we really hope you got excited about this program. Thank you.
Everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.